Hey guys, Red the Nerd here, and I'm back again with another list video. This time, I'm doing my top 8 favorite Disney villains. I did do top 10 non-Disney villains, so if you can go watch that video if you really want to. So yeah, the last video, if you've been keeping up with my community posts, by the way, you should go check out my community posts and all that stuff, because I do post updates on videos and stuff like that. But the non-Disney villain video actually got copyright, it actually got blocked and copyright claimed, which is not anything new for me. I get copyright claims all the time, but it's nothing to worry about because I'm not monetized, so I don't need to worry about that. But it got blocked because I was using, clips from movies and all that stuff. So I will be using some clips, but most of this video is just going to be pictures. So I hope that you guys can sit through this video and, just look at some pictures and listen to my beautiful voice. But anyway, enough rambling on about what's going on. Let's move into our number 8 spot.
Say now, what have we here? Oh, it's a man cub.
So at my number 8 spot, I have Kaa from the Jungle Book, the original one, the good one. So the reason why Kaa is on my number 8 spot is because he's not much of a big threat as Shere Khan is. Shere Khan is a way, way bigger threat to our main characters than Kaa is. Kaa is just a snake that just wants to eat stuff. That's what he does. That's what he wants to do. And after he encounters Shere Khan, and he just disappears from the movie. He just never comes back to the movie. But he does appear in Jungle Book 2, and all that good stuff. I don't know how good he is in the Jungle Book 2 because I haven't watched that yet. I think I need to actually watch that because people have been telling me, in personal, that I need to watch that movie if I really like the original one. So I'm like, all right, cool. And the reason why he's on my number 8 spot, or why he's my favorite villain, is because his voice. I really like his voice. Sterling Holloway did a fantastic job voicing Kaa. If you don't know who he is, he's, you'll probably know him for voicing the Cheshire Cat in Alice in the Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland and Winnie the Pooh, believe it or not. Rest in peace. But he does such a great job voicing different characters because he has a really smooth and creepy voice to him. So that's what gives Kaa such a creepy vibe to him, because he's very, he's very calm, and he's very he's kind of low with his voice, so he's kind of like speaking real low, and he's got this really weird accent to him. But he's very sinister because he can hypnotize people, and that's a very unique aspect to his character, that he can actually hypnose people. But he doesn't really do a good job of it because people can just look away. The only time that he's actually hypnosed people and it's actually worked is Mowgli and Bagheera, but he tries to hypnose Shere Khan and that doesn't work at all. So, don't hypnotize Shere Khan, And he just tries to eat people. That's why he's on my number 8 spot, because Sterling Holloway, he's just a great actor, and he does such a great job of voicing Kaa, and he's not really as much of a big threat as, all the other villains that are on this list is, but he's still a really great villain to me personally, because I really do like snakes. Snakes are one of my favorite animals, and, I just really like his hypnosis power. So that's why he's on my number 8 spot. So let's move into our number 7 spot.
Hello, my loyal subjects! Have some candy!
So at my number 7 spot, I have King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is a very unique movie because it doesn't take, the classic Disney standards, Usually Disney movies, they always take on, fairy tales or, some, anthropomorphic ideals or whatever, but they really focus on video games, which is really interesting, arcade video games to be precise, and they really make their own, kind of games on there, so it's very interesting to see how, the world of Wreck-It Ralph works and all that stuff. And the world of Wreck-It Ralph has one rule: don't go turbo, and that's a very weird rule. But later on, you realize that going turbo is referencing a racer named Turbo who went rogue because he wanted to destroy another racing game. and basically people or game characters can't switch to other games to become something or wreck other games because that's going turbo, and it basically wrecks the entire arcade system and all that stuff. But when we first meet King Candy, you know that he's bad because of the stuff that he says and all that stuff, and you get to know his plan very early on. But the twist that he's actually turbo, the twist that he's actually turbo is very, very, very surprising. A lot of twist villains don't really get the twist right. Usually, it's just kind of stupid and it doesn't make sense. But King Candy has got to be one of the best twist villains ever, because the turbo story has been, kind of told by Felix, like kind of middle in the movie, and then afterwards you kind of forget about it. But Turbo has been referenced throughout the movie for, like, in the background of things, even mentioned by one of the video game characters by, in Wreck-It Ralph's, kind of video game villain meetup group thing. But when King Candy is revealed to be Turbo, it's very shocking because, it's very, because you don't really, you just kind of forget about, the Turbo thing, and then you don't know if it's going to come back later, and it does, and it just hits you in the face, and it's awesome. And the climax of Wreck-It Ralph has got to be one of the best climaxes in a Disney movie. The lighting, the scope of everything, it's just really great. And also King Candy's Cybug form has got to be one of my favorite, character designs in animation, because it's just really unique because he's so bigger than Wreck-It Ralph. And he's not stronger than Wreck-It Ralph, but he is very close to strong as Wreck-It Ralph. And, since he's a glitch, he can't actually die because he got eaten by the Cybug. But in reality, since he's a glitch, he can't actually die. But he does die at the end where, he, the giant Coca-Cola fall comes up, and it's like, then he kind of just sucks in because the Cybugs are attracted to light. So he just gets sucked in there because, he's part of the Cybug form. But he's a very unique villain, and I really do appreciate a villain that's unique. So that's why he's at my number 7 spot. So let's move into my number 6 spot.
Gentlemen.
So at my number 6 spot, I have Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog. Now, Dr. Facilier is a really smug son of a gun. He's very gentleman-like. So when you first meet him, our main characters meet him, he's very gentleman-like, but he just flips on a totally different level instantaneously. He is, that's how he gets you, because he's like, yo, how's it going? You'll follow me into this dark alleyway, And then he just flips on a completely different switch. So during the epic montage at the beginning, that he's very evil, because he's tricking people into falling for his voodoo schemes and stuff like that. And then when Naveen and Lawrence meet him, he's very gentleman-like, and then you get the banger, My Friends on the Other Side. What a banger villain song. Just a straight banger. Love it. And he's a very unique villain. Like King Candy, I like a villain that's unique. And Dr. Facilier is unique in a lot of different ways. First off, he has, his friends are literally demons from hell. So, you don't really see those in villains. And also, he also has a shadow. So he's a shadow boy. So, that's pretty unique. It's also very funny because the shadow has, like, its own personality and stuff like that. But, so that his shadow is also, like, another demon or something like that. So that's pretty cool. And also his animation, he's very, like, noodle-like, if that makes sense. Where he's very skinny and lanky. So he can, walk so normally, but then he can, just, like, become all, like, rubber hose animation like. So that's pretty cool. I do like animation where, animation just goes a whole different way with characters and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. And also he let's just say that he literally killed one of the best characters, Ray. He killed the best character by far in the entire movie. Sad. Rest in peace, Ray. But also, what's not sad? His death. His death is amazing. Most satisfying Disney death ever. There's another satisfying Disney death that we'll get into, but just stay tuned. But he literally got dragged into hell by his friends from the other side. And his gravestone, man, gives me chills every time that I see that scene. Oh my god. It's just bone chilling. Absolutely bone chilling. And So there's not much to talk about him because, you know, he has an army of demons and he has an army of shadows, and basically he just wants, to bring souls to his demon friends so they can feast on that. That's pretty unique. But there's not much else to talk about him because I have not seen Princess and the Frog for a while. So maybe after I'm done, making this video, I'll watch Princess and the Frog, and maybe I'll like, damn, I should have said something about that. But right now, that's what I have to say for Dr. Facilier, and that's why he's at my number 6 spot. So let's move into my number 5 spot.
I won!
So at number my 5th spot, I have a very underrated Disney villain. Ratigan? There you go, Ratigan, from The Great Mouse Detective. Now, I don't know what it is, but I think I'm petrified of rats now. I think rats are horrifying. We got Jenna from Secret of the Nim. We got Ratigan, and we got some other mouse villains that I don't really remember or whatever, but I don't know. What's with rats being, creepy and all that stuff. But Ratigan is very, very sinister. And you know that him and Dorson? No, what's the mouse detective's name again? I can't remember. Crap. What's wrong with me? But yeah, you know that it's kind of like a Sherlock Holmes kind of situation with, Ratigan being Moriarty or, and, the Great Mouse Detective. I'm just going to call him Detective because I can't remember garbage. Basil. That's his name. Oh my god, I remember. Oh my god, his name is Basil. And Basil is Sherlock. Yeah. So it's very, because most people don't really like The Great Mouse Detective. I think it's very good. It's kind of like Secret of Nim with, like rats and all that stuff, even though there's no magic or anything. But I think it's a very great movie. And yet again, the climax of this movie gotta be one of the best climaxes in a Disney movie. I really like the scope of the entire climax where, they're in the Big Ben Tower and, you see all the gears and stuff. And the music, the music is just intense. It gives me goosebumps every time that I listen to it. And it just slaps, just so good. I really like it. And also because you really see at the beginning that Ratigan is very gentleman-like, but he's also very sinister at the same time, just like Dr. Facilier. But at the very end, that he just really goes into his animalistic intentions, where, his coat is all messed up so you can see his fur and all that stuff. And, he's just swiping at Basil, just like, just clawing at him and stuff. Very intense, very intense. And his death has also got to be one of the, the greatest Disney villain deaths ever, where he literally falls off a, I don't know how big the Big Ben Tower is, but he literally falls several thousand feet to his death. So that's pretty crazy. And you also think that he also killed our main character, because when he falls off the Big Ben Hour Hand, he literally just pulls Basil down, and you think that he literally takes down his arch enemy with him. So, but we all know that Basil, that Basil wins, or doesn't die. But it's kind of sad because Ratigan thinks that he won, even though that he's literally fallen to his death. But then Basil wins, so his death is very, sad and all that stuff. But, his plan to take over the England city of mice and all that stuff, it's pretty crazy. And his song is also pretty slaps, not gonna lie. I really like his villain song. It's very awesome. And he also has a pet cat, which that is pretty crazy as well. You don't really see, pet cats with rats and all that stuff. So you know that he's badass when he literally has a giant pet cat. So that's pretty epic, not gonna lie. But yeah, a very underrated Disney villain. If you have not seen The Great Mouse Detective, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie. And Ratigan is the highlight of the movie. I forgot who voiced him yet again. I'm going to put a photo of who he's voiced by, and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I totally should have remembered that, but, I'm stupid. So, that's why he's on my number 5th spot. Let's move into number 4.
Leaving so soon?
So at my number 4 spot, I have Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And yet again, another really underrated Disney movie. I have not seen many people talk about Frollo himself and the movie. That's quite a shame. It's a very great movie. Probably because Frollo is probably one of the darkest Disney villains I've ever seen, period. He has committed so much genocide, bro. It is maddening. Craziness. If you have seen the movie, you would know what I'm talking about, but it's very hard for me to explain the actions that he does. If you have not seen the movie, it's just going to confuse you and all that stuff, especially his motivation. But his motivation is very real because he does not like the gypsies because of their religion and stuff like that, because he thinks that he's a very pure and saint person, but in reality he is committing crimes and genocides against innocent people, basically. And he almost killed Quasimodo as a baby by dropping him down the well, and the archdeacon comes out of the church and he's like, hey, you can't drop that baby down the well, you gotta take care of him. And he's like, alright, fine, I'll take care of him, I'll put him in your bell tower. And he's like, alright, cool. But you know that he's evil from the very beginning because he literally pushes Quasimodo's mom down the stairs. Jesus Christ, this is dark. And, can't forget Quasimodo he almost drowned him. But Quasimodo doesn't know that. So he's basically been lied to his entire life. And Frollo is like his father figure to Quasimodo in some way. But Quasimodo doesn't call him father or dad or anything. He just calls him master. So Frollo is very controlling and very, very situations like Quasimodo's relationship with him. So it's very controlling. And his motivation that, like I mentioned, it's going to be hard for me to explain. But basically, he, after, he sees Esmeralda, he kind of, falls in love with her. And that's a sin in his mind, so he doesn't want that. And basically, he sings Hellfire, which is a banger, by the way. Another great Disney villain song. Gotta be top 5 favorite Disney villain songs for me. And and basically, he just wants her. Basically, he was like, "Hey, you're gonna be with me, or I'm just gonna burn you. Which one?" And she's like, "I'd rather burn than be with you." And he's like, "All right, fine. Suits with me." And Tony Jay did a fantastic job voicing Frollo. If you have seen the movie, you would know what I'm talking about. He has this very, kind of soft-spoken but very intimidating voice to him. So you know that when he's on screen, you know that if somebody says something wrong to him, he's instantly just gonna snap and just correct you right there. So it's very crazy. And he almost burnt, an innocent family's farmhouse with them in it. Yeah, we're dealing with a Disney movie here with a Disney villain. No kid stuff, no cliche stuff. We got some real life motivation here. So yeah, that's gonna do it for Frollo. I'm pretty sure I already state why I liked him, because he's pretty crazy and he's a very real villain, and he's the darkest Disney villain ever. So that's why he's on my number 4 spot. So let's move into my number 3 spot.
I haven't been this choked up since I got a hunk of moussaka caught in my throat. Huh?
So at my number 3 spot, I have Hades from Hercules. Hades is one of the goofiest villains, and I love him for that. I say this before, I don't like when a villain is goofy. I like when villains are, mischievous and conniving and all that wonderful good stuff that everybody loves in a villain. But the reason why I put him in my number 3 spot is because he is just so damn funny. How could you take this guy seriously? I mean, when he loses his absolute shit on you, then yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, okay. But other than that, he's just so goofy, and I love him. And his jokes that he makes is so good. It never gets old. You can watch Hercules so many times, and you can never get bored. It's just amazing. I love it. And I don't want to go too in-depth with Hades because there's not much to go in-depth with. He's just goofy and he's just amazing, and I love him for that. And James Wood also did an excellent job of voicing him. Just gave another ounce of awesomeness to this amazing, already good character. So there's not much else to talk about him because everybody has basically said how great he is, and everybody knows how amazing and funny and goofy he is. So I can't really say that I can add anything to the Hades talk. So I'm just putting him on my number 3 spot because he's just so goofy and he makes me laugh. So that's why he's on my number 3 spot. So let's move into the number 2 spot.
My most trusted advisor. I am in desperate need of your wisdom.
My life is but to serve you, my lord.
So at my number 2 spot, I have Jafar from Aladdin. The only good Aladdin movie. Forget about the garbage that is the live action remake. Anyway, the reason why Jafar is at my number 2 spot is because he is a childhood favorite of mine. I used to watch Aladdin a lot as a kid. I have the VHS, and I used to watch that thing to death. I'm pretty sure if I plugged that sucker back into the VHS player, it's not gonna be as good as it was. And the reason why I put Jafar at my number 2 spot is because I just really like him. He's so great at being at a villain, you know? Because he just wants the genie's lamp so he can make a wish. That's all he wants. That's all he wants to do. But Jonathan Freeman did a fantastic job voicing Jafar, because he can instantly, become all gentleman-like and, all gentleman-like. But he can also kind of switch his voice into a more sinister voice, which is actually pretty cool. And he's a sorcerer. How could you not love a sorcerer? A sorcerer is amazing because he can use his magic to get away from situations, and he can use his magic to, defeat his enemies. And I just got to say this. I love the climax with Jafar in Aladdin, where he transforms into the giant snake. I got to say this. I love that entire climax, especially when Jafar turns into the giant cobra, because I like snakes, and I always fast forward to that part because I just really like when Jafar turns into the snake because he's so badass. He's so badass. And there's not much else to say about Jafar other than he's badass, and Jonathan Freeman did an excellent job voicing him, and, he's 10 times better than, the live-action Jafar. That's all I have to say for Jafar, and he's my childhood favorite villain, so that's why he's at my number 2 spot. There's no, deeper meaning to why I like him. I just really like him, so that's why he's at my number 2 spot. So let's move into the number 1 spot.
Long live the king.
So, at my number 1 spot, I have Scar from The Lion King. Now, The Lion King is my favorite Disney movie of all time, hands down. And Scar is my favorite Disney villain of all time. He is a scumbag, and I love it. He devised the most evil plan that any villain in any animation history has done. All right, I said a lot of things about great motivation and all that stuff, but Scar's motivation is just pure hatred for Mufasa, and he devised the most evil plan imaginable. He literally sent a stampede after Simba and Mufasa. That is insane. And he does kill his brother, which is the most heartbreaking Disney death of all time. Mufasa's death. Because they even show the body, and Scar puts the blame of Mufasa's death onto Simba, and he tells him to run away. But no. Running away is not good enough for him. He sends his hyena goons after to kill Simba. And he thinks that he has won. And he's been ruling over the Pride Lands for quite some time, and the Pride Lands has been just decimated by death and destruction. Everything is gone. The water's been dried up. There's nothing left. And he is so egotistical that he just wants to stay in power, and by staying in power that he does not want to leave Pride Rock, because he knows that if they leave Pride Rock, that means that he doesn't have much control over the hyenas and the lionesses as being at Pride Rock, because Pride Rock is a very symbolic symbol to the hierarchy. So it's kind of like a king and queen leaving their castle, so they don't really have much authority in being, in a giant fortress of solitude. You know what I mean? So, and also he's just going after his nephew, right? So he's just going after him. But also, his villain song, best villain song ever. Nobody can tell me wrong. Nobody can tell me otherwise. All right? Be Prepared is one of the best villain songs ever, and nobody can tell me wrong. All right? And it's not just because I'm bad at singing and that's like the only song they can actually sing decently, but it's just the beat. I was not a big fan of Be Prepared when I was younger because I used to watch The Lion King on VHS all the time as a kid. And I wasn't really a big fan of Be Prepared, but now as I'm older, I'm like, alright, Be Prepared, one of the best villain songs ever. And Scar is just a great villain all around. Just a great villain, and very unique one at most, with a unique motivation, and the most heartbreaking the most heartbreaking deed that he's ever done, which was kill his own brother and possibly almost killed his own nephew, which that is just disheartful and heartbreaking at the same time. And what's really great is that he's so cowardice that he's running away from Simba after the hyenas attack him, and because that he thinks that he acts all big and tough because of his hyena goons, but in reality he's just a big coward, and he places the blame on the hyenas, which in turn the hyenas end up killing Scar, which that's a very great death. You don't really see what happens after the flames rise up, so you don't really know what happens. But I'm pretty sure that we all know what happens. Scar got eaten or killed by the hyenas. We don't know if he got eaten. Probably he got eaten. That's pretty messed up. But that's what you gotta do, because once you place the blame on your goons, even though that they didn't do anything, you're gonna get killed no matter what. So that's why Scar is at my number 1 spot. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of a short one, I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't know how long this video is actually. But I thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't care what you do, but you guys know what time it is. So, bye guys.